I can tell you about my barriers. There are more than 46,000 collateral consequences to one felony conviction in the United States of America.
What did you do? What did you do to go to jail?
I was involved in criminal enterprising.
There you go. The reason why you went there and I didn't is because decisions that you made and I didn't make those decisions.
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. We got to take a look at a video uploaded by the Officer Tatum titled "Conservative Black Man Silences Liberal Panel." Now, a couple things I want to mention before I start the video. First off, footage from this debate comes from the Blexit Liberation Tour. Now, there's a video of the entire Blexit Liberation Tour New York City event that I will link in the description down below if you want to see the entire event and everything that happened. And I will also link this video in the description down below of Officer Tatum's highlights from this debate. And secondly, lastly, I just want to say shout out to the Officer Tatum for being an inspiration to me and many others. You know, he is definitely a huge reason why I started my YouTube channel. You know, he's one of the first intro voices to conservatism and black conservatism, specifically, that I heard. I didn't really know that such spaces existed on YouTube, and he was one of the first people that opened my eyes and opened my mind to so many ideas, and I haven't closed it since. So I just want to say shout out to the Officer Tatum for doing what he does and, you know, being an outspoken voice. But with that being said, this video is 13 minutes long, and I really want to get through the whole thing with you guys. So we're about to get into it. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe while we're watching. Now let's roll it.
I think that there are a number of things systematically that are set up so that we as black people have a harder time succeeding economically, and it's embedded and bred into our culture. And so when we talk about fatherlessness, you know, that's a byproduct of a number of different issues. But if we had the economic power that many of our counterparts enjoy in this country, some of the issues that we face, we wouldn't have those.
Officer Tatum, you want to weigh in on this topic?
Okay, I know y'all might thinking I'm stopping it early, but she said something that got some wheels spinning in my head, so I just got to say something about it. Now, she said that if black people had the same economic power that some of our counterparts had, then, you know, things might be different. But I wonder exactly which one of our counterparts is she speaking about? Because if you look at the median income per household, white people aren't even in the top 5 on that list. You know, I'm pretty sure it's Chinese, Japanese, maybe Filipino and Indians for sure are higher up on that list than white people are. And, you know, they aren't, I'm sure many of them, if you go back a generation or so, they had to immigrate into this country. You know, they weren't even citizens. They worked hard, provided for the generation in which they gave birth to that were born in this country. They instilled proper discipline and good principles into their children, and those children grew up and became successful as well. Is that not something that the black community and black people can do? You know, we can have that economic power, but we got to look in the mirror. There are things about the way we, you know, have our family structure set up, and there are things that we aren't doing that impact that. It's not necessarily just racism and white supremacy the reason why we don't have economic power in this country, but I digress.
Yeah, I think that a lot of our issue comes from right here in the mind.
Yep.
And I would say that leads from the lack of education. The reason we vote the way we do is from a lack of education. The reason that we think, and no disrespect to the young lady, that we think that somehow our issues are external is a lack of education and knowledge. I honestly believe that we are the arbiters of our success. If we have problems in the inner city communities, we have to look in the mirror first. We have to look in the mirror first. Because on this panel, I highly doubt that anybody on this panel is affected by systemic issues and the systematic oppression.
That's not true.
I said I highly doubt that none of us are affected. I'm a successful black man. I got an education.
Right on.
I own my own business. I employ black people in my business, and I pay them very well. Why? Because they're qualified. They do what it takes. They come, they interview, and I give them opportunities, and that beget other opportunities. So I honestly think that the person in the mirror is the biggest, problem or success factor in the black community.
Absolutely, and I just want to touch on that really quickly. like he said, you got to look in the mirror first. I think no matter where you end up in life, no matter what type of situation you're in, whether it be a good situation or a bad situation, you will always be the common denominator no matter where you end up in life. Every situation that you find yourself into, you are a part of that somehow. Yeah, sure, there might be things happening outside of your control, but you still have something to do with it all the time, always. So, just try to analyze your own behavior and the way you move and things you may have done wrong and things you may have done right in any given situation. If you do good, it's probably something good that you did. If you do wrong, it's probably something wrong that you did, but don't attribute it straight to racism first and white supremacy and systemic oppression first.
The other day, I was reflecting on my grandmother, and I was raised by my grandmother, my maternal grandmother. Both my parents were incarcerated on a federal level when I was approximately 5 years old. And I thought about something. My grandmother told me one day, she said, "Do you know that you are the first generation that was born free in this country?"
Come on.
I said, "What do you mean by that?" She said, "You were born in late 1970s. And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Well, when I was born one generation from a descendant of a slave. When your mother was born, she was born in Jim Crow. And so I was the first generation that was born fully free in this country." Why am I bringing that up? I'm glad that you asked that question. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because we are not too far removed from the institutional racism as it relates to signs, as it relates to legislation, et cetera, that keeps people like you, like me, like her, and like you, successful brother, in bondage.
Can I jump in on this real quick?
Brandon, before you do.
And let me say this, even though you were the first generation, look at how much you've been able to accomplish. How much barriers do you have if you've been able to accomplish so much and you're only the first generation?
Well, let me tell you about my barriers.
So that-
as a felon, as a person with a felony conviction,
Let me just.
I can tell you about my barriers. There are more than 46,000 collateral consequences to one felony conviction in the United States of America.
What did you do? What did you do to go to jail?
I was involved in criminal enterprising.
There you go. So, let me
What
just
does
say
it have to do with
this.
being
The
successful or
reason
not?
that I say that is because it's the same person in the mirror. The justice system, the white man, systemic racism, none of that had anything to do with the reason why you went to prison.
Nah, I didn't get prosecuted by a white man. I got prosecuted by a black prosecutor. I got prosecuted by a black. I got sentenced by a black judge. This wasn't about white. This wasn't about black.
Hang on one second.
Racism.
The system in and of itself, I'm telling you, the reason why you went there and I didn't is because decisions that you made and I didn't make those decisions. And the reason.
So the argument he made about being the first generation in his family born entirely free, heard his argument, and then stack on top of that, this dude went to jail. So he went to jail, I think he said 14 years, and he's the first generation born free, if you really want to throw that in there. And he still managed to do great for himself financially. He's sitting up on that stage, so he must be somebody. All the stuff he went through, he still managed to do it. So how do you explain that? If somebody like him could do it, there are generations born now who are, several generations born free. They not doing it. You got to look in the mirror first. Like Tatum's saying, it's things, he was doing the wrong things. That's how he got into jail. That ain't nobody else's fault but his. And whoever might have influenced him, but he was doing the wrong things. That's how he landed in jail. It was him. But he came out. He changed stuff around. I don't know how he did it. Maybe he found God, but he changed stuff around. And once he got rid of the bad baggage that he was carrying and got rid of the bad things that he was doing, he was able to do much better for himself. That's something that every person can practice. Every black person can practice. Do things that are conducive to success instead of doing things that are conducive to going to jail.
And the reason why you're successful now are the positive decisions that you made learning from the experience. Those are decisions that you're making are the arbiters of your success. It has nothing to do with these external factors. You were able to get out of prison, have the experience, and now you're able to free other people. In America, you can do that. In other places, I can't attest to that. But America forced that opportunity. There's no systems that have stopped you, have it? I think that is damaging now by having diversity, inclusion, and all that stuff. What it does is it separates us.
What?
It really does. It separates
How?
us because
You don't
if
want
you
people to
listen-
know about our culture?
I am an entrepreneur. I hire people for a living. I do not discriminate against individuals who come to my workforce. If I have qualified black people, I'm going to hire qualified black people. What we should be focusing on is having them qualified instead of just giving them a handout because we need to reach numbers. We need young, this is the problem that's happening. I'm gonna shut up, I promise. The problem that's happening is that we're not focused on making sure these young people are successful coming out of school. They're prepared to go to work. They're prepared to interview. We're not prepping them there. We wanna go on the back end and say, well, I have 10 white people, I need 3 more black people, I'm just gonna hire them because we need to meet a quota. That's not the way to do it because they come, they're unprepared, and they're not gonna be successful. What we need to do is help them on the back end, make sure they're successful and prepared, send them out in the workforce where they are competitive, and therefore they can compete just like everybody else.
I think he meant to say we trying to make up for it on the back end instead of doing right up front, on the front end. And he's 100% right. Instead of saying, like he said, you know, we got one too many white folks in this establishment, at this school, you know, at this job, whatever. Instead of doing that, why don't we take it upon us and make sure that the black applicants up front are just as qualified as the white applicants so that they don't have to have lower standards and diversity, equity, and inclusion quotas when trying to get into some of these schools or get into these jobs. The focus needs to be on the education and the qualification of each and every one of these individuals up front, not on the back end. That's a great argument to make, and I think that will benefit the black community as a whole much better than bringing black people who might not be necessarily qualified and equipped to handle certain positions that we thrusting them into because of DEI quotas that need to be met, instead of making sure they are qualified from the jump on the front end. Come on now.
I was raised by a single parent, and I feel that I'm considered one of the people that is successful when we talk about, what success looks like within the black community. But even still, even being raised, in a single family, being educated, having a successful job, a successful career, I still understand that there are systematic things in this country that are against me. And I don't care how people look at that.
Like
I
what?
look in the banking. I talked about that earlier. The ability to
No, for you.
For me, I'm saying banking, yes, specifically. So just to give you a real life example, in 2020 during the pandemic, I went to my bank. I have good credit. I've paid back my student loans. I, don't have any outstanding debt to income ratio, and I could not get $60,000. And I asked my bank, why was I denied a person who has A1 credit, don't have any student loans, I have, 2 or 3 properties. Why am I being denied a $60,000 personal loan? And you know what?
Well, what is good credit? What is good credit? We don't know what credit she got. What is good credit? I'm not saying that she got bad credit, but what I'm saying is, what is good credit? And how does she know that race came into factor in her getting or not getting that loan?
2 or 3 properties. Why am I being denied a $60,000 personal loan? And you know what?
They said because you're black?
They didn't give me an answer.
But how do you know it's because you're black?
What I'm saying is,
wait
wait a minute. There are no
how do you know
indicators.
it's because of the color of your skin?
What I'm saying is, there are no indicators for why I should have been denied. That's what I'm saying.
Do you know that any white people have been denied with the same qualification?
I don't know because I didn't go out and poll white people.
There's no way
It was in a conversation.
No, but that's relevant. See, I think us as black folks, we've gotten way too used to saying because I'm black. That's a serious implication tied into that. If you get denied a loan simply because you're black, then yeah, I mean that's 100% racist. If you deny somebody a loan solely off the color of their skin, that would be considered racist. But like she just self-admitted, she doesn't even know the reason why. So what she did was go off on a limb and make an assumption that because she didn't get it, the first reason why at the tippy top of all the reasons why she didn't get it is because she's black. She's just making an assumption, but she doesn't know if that's actually even true.
Conversation about white people. This is a conversation about me.
No, but
You're
there's no way.
acknowledging a hindrance. You're
you're-
acknowledging a hindrance to
I'm
your.
I'm acknowledging a hindrance in what you're considering to be a successful person doing what they're supposed to do, going out and working, having good credit, paying their bills on time, and still being denied with no reason given.
As a black
That's what
person,
as a
you're
black
saying
person,
that happened to you
I'm
because
saying that
you were
happened
black.
to me. What I'm saying is,
It hap-
yes,
it
yes,
happened.
I'm saying it happened,
Okay.
and I happen to be black. Yes.
Kalea, I want to talk about
But wait
immigration.
a minute, I'd like Brandon to respond to that. I see you sat back, you're frustrated.
Listen,
I'd like you to respond.
I will.
Yeah.
You got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. All I want to say is that I can fight with you if we have evidence. If you went to the bank and you have evidence that they've been giving loans to people with equal qualification as you have, and because you being black, they denied you, let's go to the bank and let's show up. Let's pull up. Okay. But the thing is that it's not fair to make that determination without unequivocal facts, because what it does is it generates this idea that it's because you're black. There may be something or that you could have changed on you when you made the application or not that could have caused you to get the loan. There are some educational points there that could have been effective, but you can't just say it's your race, because then you're telling the next young person and the next young black person, and before you know it, they don't even give it a try when you're saying something that's not verified.
No,
I'm telling you, this stuff, he's spot on. This stuff is deep rooted. I'm sure she heard because I'm black so many times growing up. That's stuff that you carry with you. You carry that with you. So many black people walking around thinking that they don't have, thinking that they lacking in X or Y simply because they are black. They didn't get that opportunity because I'm black. I didn't get this job. I didn't get let into this school. They called the police on me because I'm black. Everything is because I'm black. That stuff really does carry over through generation. That's like a generational curse, generational trauma that has been passed from, one generation of black folks to the next. And, who's to say that white people haven't got denied of loans? I'm sure it's just so ridiculous, because I'm sure that people of all skin colors have been denied of loans and maybe not understood why. You go to another bank, you try to get another loan.
I'm not saying, I'm going to let you get your applause. What I'm saying is the same grace that you're asking me to give the bank and saying that maybe it didn't happen because I'm black, I'm asking for that same grace to say that that absolutely could have been a qualifier in their decision to deny me, but they didn't give me that information. And so the same way that I'm making an example that we don't know. So
It could have been
just as you're
because you were
saying,
female.
It
could have been because of anything.
You don't know.
It could have been
I don't know,
it
because
could have
you know
been-
what? They didn't give me the
They
information.
could have been jealous of you. They see you
It
come
could have
in
been
looking
anything.
nice. They hating on you. It could have been hating. It could have been because you're a
Pinks
woman.
do
It could have
not
been
like
because
pink.
who
I
knows?
But what
have
I'm
the
also
facts on
just
that.
asking you to consider is that it also could have been my race. That's all I'm asking
do.
you to consider.
I know,
I'm
I do.
asking you to
I
consider
got 2
that as
minutes.
well.
I think that that's fair to consider that, and I will. But we cannot make the determination, right? But we'll consider it. In this country.
Yeah, and just to tie that knot up real quick, the difference is that Tatum is saying, okay, that could be on a list of reasons why. But is that the first thing? Is that the very first thing that they said? Is that the biggest reason why they denied you that loan? Because she seems to think without a doubt that it is. Whereas Tatum is saying it could be a possibility, but let's not run around and say that it's absolutely fact. Let's not speak on it as if it's fact when you don't even know.
If black people, if we're caring about what our efforts are and our effectiveness in this country is, if we get overtaken by people who shouldn't even be in this country, that didn't fight to belong in this country, didn't die, didn't shed blood, wasn't in the Civil War, wasn't a slave in this country, the law wasn't even prepared for people to come here illegally. It was prepared for black people who belong here. If we get overtaken by them, then what are we going to do? We're having abortions at a crazy rate. Therefore, we're not populating. We're at 12%. We're probably at 11% of the population. If there are 60% of the population, when we show up to vote, what kind of power you think we're going to have? And they came here illegally. Their ancestors were not here. They didn't go through the struggle. They didn't go through Jim Crow. You got to get in line and do it the right way. And you're not going to thwart opportunities for black people in this country. And if anybody cares about opportunities for black people, and they're saying they're not afforded these opportunities, they're getting taken away from them, this is one of the points that we should all be in unison on, is saying that these illegal people who come in this country that take opportunities from Americans is wrong.
I was just about to say, I don't understand how this isn't an issue that more black people aren't unified in speaking out against. And it's funny that they talking about this because right now, you know, I live in Chicago, and I think I'll be doing a video about this soon, but they proposed $51 million in aid to illegal immigrants. Like 10,000 illegal immigrants have been, you know, sent here to Chicago since August, and they opening up schools for them, opening up shelters for them. Buildings have been abandoned. You know what I'm saying? Buildings have been abandoned for years, for months. They opening up these buildings for illegal immigrants, and they giving money to these illegal immigrants. And I don't think illegal immigrants only affect black people, but the odds of illegal immigrants going to lower income neighborhoods where black people are at is very high. They don't have much money. They don't have money. They don't have an education. They're not even citizens of this country. So they're gonna go wherever they can go. And you know, a lot of times that's low income places.
Lois?
Well, the way that I feel about this country is we're all illegals in this country.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. No. First of all, I knew it'd be controversial. I knew it was going to be controversial to say that. I do believe that black people built this country for free. I do believe that.
Yo.
But I also believe that we're all on stolen land. This is not our country. It's not.
Who does it belong to?
And so, because
whose country?
Native Americans.
Who? Which one? Which tribe?
I don't know which tribe.
The one who killed them to get them to kill the other ones to kill the other ones.
Listen,
Which tribe?
Listen, let me say this.
Yeah, I mean, Native Americans have warring tribes, so whose land is it really? If you got one tribe attacking another tribe, all for the same land and all for the same resources, then whose land is it? This is really just a dumb point to make. You know, black people, we were brought here as slaves from Africa. And all the generations after that who were born, bled, sweat, tears, all of that, we were born here. We are American citizens. I don't care what this lady talking about. We are American citizens. This is our land. And we need to start acting like it's our land and taking advantage of what our land offers us.
Do I believe that America has an immigration problem? Absolutely. I'll be the first person to say that. I don't believe any president, Democrat, Republican, has gotten it right. I think it's really a real challenge in this country.
Do you believe, Crystal, that our immigration problem is disenfranchising blacks?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't think it is.
All right.
I reject the premise that quote unquote illegal immigrants are taking jobs away from black people. I reject that premise.
Okay, we're gonna go to solutions.
How do we do that? Stop focusing on the past. Stop blaming other people, and let's come together. Let me finish.
The past is a precursor.
Let's start making sure that we hit these pillars as a community. Let's start marrying these young women and staying at home and taking care of your responsibilities as a man. Let's start building wealth together. Instead of going and banking with Chase Bank, somebody go bank with a black bank. For all these people who have all this money together, let's how we can't come together and start pursuing black excellence. Instead of supporting illegal immigration, let's support our people right here in New York. Instead of putting these people up in a hotel, paying for them to eat, giving them access, giving them free medical insurance. Let's do that for the black people who are struggling right here in New York.
Right on. Shout out to the Officer Tatum, man. He killed it. And I know this was just his highlights, but like I said, I will leave the video in the description where you can see this entire event and actually see the back and forth between them and what they were really saying. I haven't even seen that yet myself, but I know that video is out there. So much good was said in this video that it's really not too much more for me to say. Officer Tatum pretty much touched on all of it himself. But just to wrap it up with a little bow on top, I'll just say we need to implement ways of living, values, and principles that are conducive to success. to happiness, to prosperity, to family creation. The more we do these type of things, the better off we'll be as black people and as all people. But that's all I got for you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe on the video on your way out the door. Hit that notification bell. And until next time, you guys, I'm out of here. Peace.